After a lot of coffee and a lot of late nights, a climate agreement in Paris is in the history books. It's a big deal, says OXFAM America climate change manager Heather Coleman.
This is the first time we've had a legal agreement with all countries at the table. It's truly amazing for those of us who have been working on climate change for a long period of time.
The agreement aims for well below 2 degrees of global warming and recognizes 1.5 degrees as a better target. That's important for key ecosystems and vulnerable people, says Samantha Smith with the environmental group World Wildlife Fund.
It's the Arctic, it's coral reefs, it's tropical forests, but not least, it's every person who is living in the Pacific Islands and in a coastal area.
But the deal reached here will not get the world to 1.5 degrees. National plans submitted ahead of the conference would put the level of warming closer to 2.7 degrees, noted Greenpeace International Chief Kumi Naido.
We have a 1.5 degree wall to climb, but the ladder isn't long enough. The emission targets on the table aren't big enough, and the deal doesn't do enough to change that.
And Coleman says there's not enough attention paid to the biggest victims of climate change.
I don't think poor people got enough out of this deal.
The agreement sets a floor of $100 billion per year to help developing countries mitigate and adapt to climate change. But people in developing countries are already bearing the brunt of the impacts, she said.
Those impacts are going to continue to increase. Poor people need a fair shot, and in order to get a fair shot under a deal like this, we need to continue to increase ambition on finance.
Paris is just the beginning. The deal has countries updating their emissions figures and their commitments every 5 years. And as government policies respond to the new agreement, decisions made here should echo in boardrooms around the world, said Policy Chief Edward Cameron with the corporate coalition We Mean Business.
And we think that that agreement is going to send a message to the real economy that the era of high carbon development is coming to an end and the era of low carbon development is emerging here in Paris.
The conference center is emptying out here outside Paris, but advocates say the next step is just beginning, making sure that businesses and policymakers turn the rhetoric about tackling climate change into reality. Steve Baragona, VOA News, Paris.